Welcome to Candid Conversations. I am Kelly Finner, the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer for the Baltimore County Police Department and your moderator for this conversation. The purpose behind this forum is to engage in conversation that has the potential to enrich and broaden one's cultural awareness and strengthen community relations within law enforcement. I'd like to thank today's guests for taking the time to participate in this conversation. Detective Jimmy Waits with Baltimore County Police Department. Can you please take some time to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Detective Jimmy Waite. Most people know me as Jimmy. I've been on the job for 18 years now. And prior to my police work, I was in the United States Navy for 10 years. A little background about me and how I came about was my father was in the Korean War, and he met my mother in Naples, Italy. They fell madly in love, and so he married her, and he brought her back to the United States to Montgomery, Alabama. So my first 7 years of my life growing up was in Montgomery, Alabama. My father was a lieutenant in the fire department, and upon his retirement, he uprooted us all seven kids, and we moved to a little town called Marietta, Florida. Not too many people are familiar with the Panhandle, but most people recognize Destin, Florida, Pensacola, Florida, or Panama City. So if you think of that, it's kind of right there. That's pretty much where I went to elementary school, junior high school, and high school. Across the street was this lady, her name was Miss Edema, and she raised collies. And I used to go over there for extra money, cleaning up her yard and her house. And in return, I learned from her a great heritage about the Jewish people, the Holocaust. So it expanded my mind in that process. But also, her son was in the United States Navy, and he had retired. He had done, I think, around 35 years, and we had gotten in conversation, and he had told me, Jimmy, I think you should join the Navy. I think it would be good for you. I think you need to get out of here. So that's what I did. I joined the Navy, and I was in the Navy for 10 years. And in that process, I did meet someone, and I fell in love. And at the time, because of policies and procedures and a lot of misunderstandings, I had to walk away from a career that I loved because the person I fell in love with was more than that. It was something that I'd always been looking for. So in that process, I ended up here at the Baltimore County Police Department where I'm here today, having this candid conversation. And I'm hoping that by speaking with you and speaking with the community, you'll get a better understanding of exactly who I am, what I stand for, and why this position is so important, and how this position is bigger than myself and bigger than this department.
Thank you, Jimmy. I don't, as you were speaking, I don't think I actually formally introduced you. If I did not, Detective Jimmy Waits is Baltimore County Police Department's first LGBTQ plus liaison. Wasn't sure if I said it earlier, but I definitely want to say it now. So, Jimmy, why did you choose after meeting the love of your life and leaving the military? Why did you pursue law enforcement, and more specifically, why Baltimore County Police Department?
I think for the most part, coming from the military, and it was just a natural progression for me. I've always wanted to be part of the community. It was a role that I felt that I could step into and I could make a difference. I always wanted to show others that being gay did not restrict me from being whatever I wanted to be. And by serving the citizens of Baltimore County, it has given me the opportunity to show the diversity is the key to harmony. We're all different, and different is good. And by understanding those differences, it allows us to unite and it allows us to be one. Because in reality, at the end of the day, we just want the same thing. We want to belong. We want to be equal. We want to be heard. We want to be safe. But most of all, we want to be seen, no matter the race, gender, or sexual orientation. And Baltimore County, the police department, is all of that. And so that is one of the reasons I'm here. That is why I'm doing this candid conversation. That is why I'm here in uniform. I'm very proud to be a Baltimore County police officer, and I'm just as proud to be a gay man.
You know what? Maybe a better question would be, what exactly is an LGBTQ liaison?
I think it's going to be, for the most part, a contact for individuals. And for the department and also the allies of the gay community. And whether they identify as LGBTQ plus or not, it doesn't matter. I am here to answer questions and to build a rapport between organizations and the communities we serve. And I think that is the most important thing that I could do in my 18 years on this job is to help bridge the gap, make that gap stronger and enforce it, and to advocate for policies, I mean, and programs and services for the LGBTQ plus community. Um, I'm here to be a shoulder for someone to lean on if they need that extra help. I know how hard it is to be uncertain about things, and I just want to be here for people if they feel the need that they need to speak with someone. So I think that's, I'm just here for everybody, but mostly I'm here for those individuals who identify as the LGBT community and so alone. And by doing this today, they're not alone. I'm with you.
Why do you think bridging the gap in the role that you sit in is so important?
I think it's important because it allows the community that we serve and the police officers that serve that community, specifically the gay community, to know that we are here for you. It doesn't matter about your sexual orientation. We're here to treat you fairly. We're here to treat you equally. And a lot of times, members of the gay community might have mistrust in the police department. That could be for their own personal reasons. It can be for historical reasons. But whatever those reasons are, I think if they see me in this position, reaching out to them, or even knowing that Baltimore County actually has a liaison for them for support, I think that that gap is going to close and get smaller and smaller and smaller. And the smaller that gap gets, the stronger we're going to be as an agency and the stronger as a community as a whole. And I think at the end of the day, and that's one of my favorite things I love to say, is at the end of the day, we just all want to get along. And I think by having me in this position, I think we're going to be able to accomplish that in a way that is going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah. You mentioned mistrust and historical mistrust. Has your experience been similar to that mistrust, even before you became a law enforcement officer? I guess what I'm trying to say is, what makes you qualified to be the liaison for this police department?
I remember, I guess the earliest I can go back is when I was probably about 9 years old. It took place in school, and the way the school was set up, we had like an empty classroom here, and you had to walk through it to go over to another classroom. And I remember one day walking into the room, and the lights were on, and there were four members of the football team inside that empty room that I had to go through to get to my class. Well, they closed both doors and they turned the lights off. And in the process, I was physically assaulted and attacked. And I was punched so hard that I really I couldn't breathe. I remember falling down on the ground. And I was called every derogatory name that you can think of that relates to the gay community. Some words I never heard of before. And I knew at that moment that I was different. And I knew that my indifference was going to follow me throughout my life. I saw indifference when I lived in Montgomery, Alabama, and I saw indifference when we moved to Florida. But this was the first time that it personally affected me and how I saw society. So I didn't want to let that rule me or control me. And I got through it and I did the best that I could. I learned how to survive and I learned how to fight. I was always told that I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. I had some individuals tell me that I couldn't go in the military, because I was gay. Well, I wanted to prove them wrong. So I did join the Navy. I was in the Navy for 10 years. During my 10 years, it was probably one of the roughest times for the gay community. It was during the don't ask, don't tell policy, where being gay or openly gay, you could be investigated, removed from the military, not because you couldn't do your job, it was just because of who you were. And there was a time that I was investigated in the military, and that investigation stopped, and the only reason it stopped was because my commanding officer stopped it. He didn't really care about what I did in my personal life. He just wanted to know that I did my job, and I did do my job. And through all of this, I always knew that I would eventually find someone and fall in love. And I did. And I had to make a decision, to leave the job that I truly loved. I mean, I loved being in the Navy, but it was so restrictive of my personal life that I just refused to allow that to happen to me. So I met Daniel, and we fell in love, and we are going on 29 years.
Wow.
And it's huge, and I understand the importance of that. So I made a decision. I could not follow him when he transferred. And you know what? I would ask anybody out there, if you're in love with someone, and we did have a personal ceremony where we did marry each other, but marriage back then was illegal. I mean, you couldn't get married being a same-sex couple. We did it anyway because I didn't care. I always knew that I was going to find someone. I believe in marriage. I believe in being with one, and that was the most important thing for me. So it trumped being in the Navy for me. So I decided to resign. I resigned with an honorable discharge, and I followed the person that I loved, and eventually he got out, and now here I am, a Baltimore County police officer. But, you know, from that's, being assaulted and then being in a situation where you actually live through discrimination. And here I am, 54 years of age. And some people do know this and some don't know this. 4.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I have been fighting that for 4.5 years now. And I finally realized the most important thing is life and happiness. And if I can make one person happier, one person's life better, just by showing my face and standing up and saying, I'm here, I did it, and so can you, then my 18 years on this job and my life on this earth was well spent. Even if I just get one person to save one person, I will be fulfilled and happy.
Wow, Jimmy. It, your story just resonates with me. Just the remembering, children can be cruel. We all know that coming up in school, for one reason or the other, children will always be cruel. But it pains me for you to go through that at such a very young age and still carry that with you that helped shape the man that you are today. We talk about trust and mistrust. Were you able to reach out to an adult to tell them what happened? I mean, let alone law enforcement. Let's start with just the adults in your life. Were you able to report that incident?
No, I think there was some embarrassment to it. You know, growing up, I mean, I always knew I was different. I didn't have a name for it. I couldn't explain it. But at the age of 6, I knew that I was not like everybody else that I played with. It was something that was there. I couldn't pinpoint it. I couldn't tell you what it was. But I did know that these feelings and how I looked at things were completely different than everybody else. And, at the time, I was born in 1968. So we're talking around 1972, 1973. What was, depicted on TV and what was said in society about the gay community, let's be honest, it wasn't very flattering. And by the time I started to realize that I was part of that community, whether I wanted to or not, I was also afraid of being turned away and not being a friend with anyone, people laughing at me and judging me just because I was different. And I guess at an early age, I knew what discrimination was. I just didn't know the word, but I definitely experienced it and I definitely felt it. But in reference to that time when I was assaulted in school, I do remember I never said anything, but the teacher who witnessed, she didn't witness it, but she knew something was wrong and she came up to me and asked me if I was okay. And I remember looking at her and holding in the tears, and I remember telling her that I was absolutely fine. I remember her asking me to tell her who did it, and I didn't want to tell her. So I just told her, no, I'm okay, I'm okay. And I remember the rest of that school year, every day when I went to class, that teacher stood at that door and waited for me to walk into class and to sit down before she would leave. So, did I tell an adult? No, I didn't have to because I had an adult who saw me, who realized that I was different, and who realized that she needed to protect me without me really knowing it. I look back now and I realize how wonderful and how appreciative I was of that action. So I guess in a way, it kind of molded me at that moment where I wanted to serve and be part of the community. And I guess ultimately protect individuals who in society are looked at differently, treated differently because of their race, color of their skin, or who they love. So once again, for me, this badge means so much. When I tell you to serve and to protect, that is what I'm talking about. I want to protect those individuals who might not have a voice, who don't understand what's going on. And for me, that moment was pivotal. And it did change me. And it made me realize that even how bad things can get, it only takes one person to make your life better. Just one person.
Wow. You said you were embarrassed. Do you think embarrassment and mistrust go together? Are they hand in hand when it comes to a member of the LGBTQ community being victimized? Is it the embarrassment coupled with mistrust that those who are here to serve and protect them won't actually do so? Or is it more one or the other?
I think when it comes to the gay community, um, one only has to look at Stonewall, uh, the riots that took place in the 1960s. A lot of gay establishments were raided by the police. A lot of you know gay community members were assaulted, arrested, humiliated, embarrassed, pulled out into the streets. And in 1969, um, a raid took place at the Stonewall Inn, and it changed the course of history for the gay community. In that process, patrons and allies and community members stood up and said, we're not going to take this anymore. And that right there was a pivotal moment for the gay community. It actually bridged a gap and created a voice like no voice has ever been heard before. A lot of individuals don't understand or don't stop to understand how embarrassing it is to be, laughed at, humiliated because of what you choose to wear and how you wear it and who you choose to love. And during those times, it was an embarrassment to be pulled out. It was an embarrassment because you were being pulled out into society when you yourself really didn't understand what was going on or what was happening. So with that embarrassment came the mistrust. So I do believe it is a combination of both, of embarrassment, of how you are treated in front of others. It's an embarrassment, belittling. And I don't think anyone ever wants to be belittled. And because of that, that is where the mistrust comes in. And to get back to June and why that month is so important, I mean, it is a parade, but it's also a march. It's a march to reflect on our history, our past, and what happened to us, and how we're going to move forward with new agendas and policies to make those coming after myself and others have it a little bit better. And I think at the end of the day, that's what we want. We just want everything to be a little bit better than it was. Because if I look back to my time growing up, it's definitely better. Could it be better than what it is now? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to get better? Yes, I do. Because I do believe that in the hearts of people, I believe everybody just wants the same thing. They want to feel part of something. They want to feel part of society. They want to feel loved and they want to be seen. Right now, the gay community, we just want you to know that we are your family. We are your friends. We're your neighbors. We have children of our own. We want to get married. And so, yeah, it is. The embarrassment and the trust do go hand in hand. For example, marriage equality. I mean, you think about this. It wasn't until 2015 that I was legally recognized. And with that recognition came military pension, medical decisions, mortgages. People just don't understand how much that little piece of paper gives you because they've always had it. And it's never been taken away from them or told or denied to them. So I've had many people in this department over my house. Many have met Daniel, and we've been out to dinner. We've had dinner together. So even in all of that, I don't think at the time a lot of individuals comprehended just how the inequality was there. They saw Jimmy, they saw Daniel, they saw us happy together, they saw us with a house, but what they didn't realize what was going on behind the scenes. How I couldn't make medical decisions, how I was not entitled to his pension. And it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment when you think that today, in 2022, individuals are still fighting for rights that everyone else gets. Why is that? Why is that? And we all just want to just be here and be.
So if Jimmy, if you want to make it better, what are what are your responsibilities and your role as the LGBTQ plus liaison? What are some of your responsibilities that will essentially help to make it better down the road?
Well, the most important thing is to be an advocate for the LGBT community and the officers and the members on the Baltimore County Police Department as well. I want to be here for everybody. I want to advocate for their rights. I want to provide a safe environment because I know how important a safe environment is. Let me be that school teacher standing at the door making sure that your day goes well and you are treated fairly. I want to address unique issues that come with being part of the gay community that others just don't understand. I feel that I'm in a position to understand those needs. Um, but I think that I want to foster an inclusive environment, both internally and externally, with the gay community, and to be a direct point of contact um, with the gay community and the command and the issues that may be impacting the gay community that the command's not aware of. I want to be able to be there and be that conduit. Um, I want to have community engagement, recruiting with the gay community. And I think most importantly is to be there for the new officers, to provide them information that they might not be aware of, to make them stop and think, and one day let them be that police officer standing there, making sure that that individual feels safe and happy in the environment that they are patrolling. That is my that is that I think that is what I want. I want to be the advocate. I want to be there and be the voice for those individuals who are embarrassed and for those individuals that mistrust. And I want to be able to break that barrier and show them, no, we're here and we're going to make it better for you. And I'm here for you.
What challenges do you think you may face, if
I,
any? I mean, you may not, but
I think there will be some challenges, with individuals, but I I guess the hardest thing is I'm not here to change anyone's beliefs, and I'm not here to change anyone's thoughts. Um, that change is not up to me. That change is going to be up to that person. So I just want people that are listening and wondering about, this position, why the Baltimore County Police Department even needs this position. Reach out to me. You can reach out to me privately. Give me a phone call. Let me speak with you. Let me show you that I am the same. I put on this uniform just like you. I go to work just like you. I'm not here to change your thoughts or beliefs, but I think by example and by you seeing this, for those individuals who might basically have mistrust in this position, let me show them that I am here for the gay community just as well as you. To answer their questions, to make them feel more comfortable. And I guess, you know, that's pretty much about it. I think I'm hoping not to encounter a lot of resistance, but realistically, I know that that would be probably a little too much to ask right now. So I do believe it is going to happen. Um, but I'm ready for it. I mean, most people know me. I'm Jimmy. They come up to me all the time and speak with me. I'm no different. I'm the
yeah.
same person. So whether I'm in this uniform or out of this uniform, I just want to make you comfortable. I don't want to change your ideas or thoughts. Just make you comfortable.
How can we support you in this position, or not just the position, but how can we support you in this role?
Um, I would ask people to have an open mind. Um, don't be so quick to judge me or this position. Um, to reach out to me, ask me questions. Um, if I say something that you don't like, let me know. That's the best way you can support me. To I don't expect anyone or everyone to agree with everything that I say, and that is absolutely fine. So instead of holding it in and being frustrated about it, shoot me an email, give me a phone call. Let's sit down. I'm not perfect, and I'll never say that I'm perfect. And the only way we're ever going to get through this thing called life is if we all do it together as one. So that's pretty much all I really want. Is just give me the time, give me the respect, and let me show you that in the end we're all the same. We just want to be here.
Do you think you'll be hosting opportunities for members of the LGBTQ community as well as allies to assemble?
Oh, absolutely. We have created a peer-to-peer meeting that we have called Prism, and that stands for Police Resource Inclusion Support Meeting. This meeting is for everyone. It's a safe place for everyone, and it's your space. It's our space. It's a time to come together to share your thoughts, stories, unique issues that face the gay community. Um, it's open to the community, business, and business leaders. Most importantly, it is for the LGBTQ plus officers to gather with their allies. Um, I plan on having specific topics for each meeting. I'm open to suggestions about topics to discuss. During those meetings at the end, we'll have like an open forum style platform for individuals to speak or ask me questions. And for those individuals who aren't exactly ready to identify with the LGBTQ community just yet, because coming out is a process and it's not an easy process, and it's not my job to do that, or it is not my right to do that for any individual. That is on their terms, their time, and there is no time limit. So for those individuals who don't feel comfortable coming to the peer-to-peer meetings, I have an email, I have a phone number, and I'll be more than happy to meet you anywhere, anytime privately, and we can have a discussion, and you can ask me very specific, direct questions if this is something that you need. And when that time is right, we'll have you in an open forum when you're ready to discuss your life and your new birth.
That's awesome. Now, for people who are in the community who may want to come to these PRISM meetings, do they just stop by their local precinct? Is it like posted on their community bulletin board in the precincts?
Yeah, we're going to have designated spots inside the precinct, and we're also going to have a designated spot here at headquarters. So everybody will see those in advance. Um, we are hoping to have those up at least 30 days prior to any of our meetings. This way it gives people ample time. Our first meeting with that beautiful flyer that you helped create is going to be October 17th, 2022 from 11 to 1 o'clock. And that location is the Randallstown Community Center. Now, just a side note, Randallstown holds is very special to my heart. It is the first area that I moved to when we moved here. I was a part of the Randallstown community for a good 15 years. And in that process, I also helped establish the historic Fieldstone community. Many of you that go up and down the Randallstown area might see that sign that's posted.
Yeah.
I'm part of that, and I'm very proud of that, along with the Randallstown Community Center. So for me, this spot is like going home, and
Yeah.
I want people that show up here at this meeting to feel like they're going home as well. So yeah, community will be able to get notified via the precincts and headquarters, and I'm also going to look at other avenues to see about getting this message out. I myself will be reaching out to business leaders and community leaders, personally inviting them to these meetings And if there's anyone that's listening that has a suggestion for me, I would love it. Like I said, this is a team effort and for everyone. So the more people that get involved with this peer to peer, the better it's going to be. I want it to be a safe place, but I also want it to be a fun place for everybody to come and relax. And we will do different times too, because I know not everybody can make a certain time. So we're going to be looking at different times, and I'm going to try to accommodate as many places as I can on the west side and the east side. This way, it's not restricted to one section. We'll try to move it around. And so if you know of a place or have any suggestions, please let me know. Shoot me an email, give me a phone call, and just say, hey, Jimmy, I think this would be a great place for a meeting, and we'll make it happen.
Wonderful, wonderful. This all sounds like this process is what that bettering you were talking about earlier is actually about. So I'm proud to be a friend of Jimmy's. And I am absolutely an ally. As we round up our conversation, I have a couple more questions for you. Why why should a member of the LGBTQ community apply to be a police officer with Baltimore County Police Department?
I would say being a police officer for myself has been one of the most rewarding jobs I have ever had the pleasure of being part of. I have worked with some of the best people. I want everyone to have that. The Baltimore County Police Department hires the best, and I want you to be part of it. The department wants you to be part of it. As an agency, our mission is to treat every person fairly and equally, no matter his or her race, gender, or sexual orientation. For those LGBTQ officers in the department or those individuals thinking of applying to become part of this great agency, you can do this. I did it, and so can you. Be true to yourself, and I encourage you to become the same. And it's just a great agency. And I would just say that if you ever wondered, was there ever a place you could fit in and make a difference? I'm telling you, wearing this badge and going out and just helping one person would be the best thing you could ever do.
If you could tell yourself, Jimmy, tell your younger self one thing,
Mm.
what would that thing be?
It's definitely going to be more than one. I would say don't be afraid of being different. Don't be afraid to say gay. Don't be ashamed of being gay. Love the person you love. Remember, you can't change others. You can change how you treat yourself, though. You are smart, you are brave, and you are strong. You are not an abomination. You are not evil, and you are only human. Stand up for yourself. You have purpose, you are loved, and you will be the change, and you are the difference. So those are how I wish I could go back in time and tell myself this.
Yeah.
It took a while to get there, but that's okay. Like I said, everyone's journey is different. Everyone's time is different. Everyone's experiences are different. Mine are mine, and theirs are my own. But we can all relate to them. You don't have to be gay to relate to a lot of these. These happen to a lot of individuals, not because they're gay, it's just because they just didn't have someone there.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. I truly appreciate you for participating in today's Candid Conversations. We keep mentioning to contact you if they ever have a question or a topic. Could you share your email address? so
Sure.
that if anyone would like to contact you, they'll have that.
Oh, absolutely. It's jwaite at baltimorecounty.md.gov. And also on that wonderful flyer that you're going to see posted throughout the area, my contact information will be there as well. So please shoot me an email and give me a good phone number to contact you on, and I will respond and I will contact you and I will assist you with whatever you need. I'm just grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful that you're even taking the time to listen to me. And like I said, I am Detective Jimmy Waite. I am gay, and I am the first Baltimore County Police Department LGBTQIA plus liaison, and I am here for you and everyone else.
Well, you know what? That's our closing for today's conversation. Thank you very much, Detective Waits, for being with us today. I truly, truly appreciate it.
No, and I truly appreciate you, and I appreciate everything that you've done to get this going, and I feel seen, so thank you.
You're absolutely welcome.
All right. Have a blessed day.